Hi everyone, this is Redzone number 10, and we're going to talk about the types of association of a scatter plot. Positive, negative, or none. So all you have to do is basically just say whether or not you think the scatter plot is going up from left to right, down from left to right, or no trend at all. So for the first one, if you drew your trend line, it would be something like this, and the trend line goes through the center of all the points, and you know that looking at that is going up from left to right, so we put positive. That's a positive trend. So for the next one, that is going down, so if you drew your trend line, it would be something like this, and you would say that's negative because that's going down from left to right. Just like that, just fill in up from left to right for the positive and down from left to right for the negative. This one, you can't draw a trend line up, you can't draw a trend line down, so we say that this has no association. And no association and no trend. Put that on the bottom right there. So for B, you just have to tell if they're linear or not. So this first one, again, that trend line, a scatter plot will never be completely linear. But if you could draw a straight line through the center of all those points, just like that, we are going to say that that is linear. And this one right here, you can't really draw that trend line. You see how it curves a little bit like that? So we say this is non-linear. And just like that, those questions are finished. So the trend lines, the line of best fit on the scatter plots are straight. They're always drawn straight, right through the center of all the points. And it basically is drawn as a line that is basically, I said basically twice, a best average of the data on the plot. The trend line does not have to start at 0, so don't think it has to start at 0 at all. You're drawing your trend line through the center of all the points. It's an average going through. So what we have to do for A, B, C, and D is basically just draw that trend line and then say if it's positive or negative. Very easy. So drawing the trend line going down, I'll do this one with you, through the center of all the points, and we are going to circle negative because it goes down from left to right. All right, so go ahead and press pause and try B, C, and D. We'll come back with those answers. Go ahead, press pause now. All right, so B, I drew that trend line right in the center of all those points, and it is a positive association. It goes up from left to right. C, same thing. Positive association goes up from left to right. Realize it does not start at 0, my trend line, and that's okay. It's still going up from left to right. And D, slightly, I mean ever so slightly, goes up from left to right, and it's a positive trend. Which scatter plot has an outlier? Just remember, an outlier is a point that is all the way, it's like basically separate. It's all on its own. And there's one of these scatter plots that has an outlier, obviously, and it wants you to circle it. So circle that outlier now. Yep, if you did circle this right here, you are correct, and it's scatter plot B that has the outlier. So number 3 gives you another scatter plot, and it asks you which equation best models the set of data. First off, one step at a time. The first thing I do is to draw my line of best fit, I'm going to draw my line of best fit right about there, and I'm going to go through just like this. All right. And that's my line of best fit, like trying to go through the center of all the points right there. All right. So then I look at this and I say, is this a positive trend or a negative trend? Well, you can answer that. So based on whether or not you think it's a positive or negative trend, which two choices can you cancel out right away? First off, answer the question, is it a positive or negative trend? It's definitely a negative trend. So that means if you say it's a negative trend, you are saying that it has a negative slope. That negative association going down from left to right means that there is a negative slope here. So you see this right here? Negative slope? That could be one of your answers. See this positive slope? Can't be a positive slope going down from left to right. And right here, negative slope could be one of your answers. Right here, positive slope out. So take a look at A and C, and what's the next easiest thing to identify? The easiest thing to identify for me has always been the y-intercept, right? That starting point. Where does my trend line start? It starts at around 7, right? This one right here, this is your y-intercept, and this is your y-intercept. How can I have a y-intercept of 3/4? That's down here. Or is the y-intercept closer to this? It says which equation best models the set of data. Obviously, A is your answer, and that is the reason why you're taking a look at the y-intercept, and the y-intercept 6. That's the closest to mine. It's not down here. You would never draw your trend line from this point. Okay? And that's how you would get A. You really don't even have to figure out the exact slope. It doesn't matter. A is your answer. It has to be. Process of elimination with these multiple choice questions. Number 4, another scatter plot. Scatter plot below shows the average points scored per game by players of different ages in basketball league. And the question is, which statement best describes the association between a player's, not a layer's, age in years and the average points scored per game? Taking a look at what this scatter plot gives you, I'm going to draw my line of best fit just like that. Looking at that, that is going up from left to right. So take a second and see exactly what you feel the answer is. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Go through those answers and pick out the one that you think is correct. Okay, which statement best describes that association? Is there no association? Take a look at my trend line. It goes up from left to right. That's out. Is there a non-linear? Is it linear? Is my trend line? My trend line should never curve, but does this curve at all? The pattern of the points? No. Is there a positive linear association or a negative linear association and one outlier? There is definitely a positive. If you picked C, you are correct. Positive association, one outlier. The outlier is right here, separated from the rest of the points. So take a look at this question. Same type of question. As a part of the training program for a triathlon, Mossy completes a 3-mile run a few times each week. The scatter plot below shows the times in which Mossy completes this run for each week that she's been in the training program. Based on this data, which statement best describes the relationship between the number of weeks Mossy has been in the training program and her running times? So the first thing I always do is to draw my line of best fit. So draw your line of best fit right now. Trying to go through the center of all my points. I'm just going to move that just a little bit like down, a little bit like that. So you have your line of best fit. Please pick your answer. We'll give you a little bit of time. Go through the answers, cross out the ones you think is definitely wrong, and you could circle the one that you think is correct. Give you a little bit of time with this. Based on the data, which statement best describes the relationship between the number of weeks Marcy has been in the training program and her running times? First off, do you think it's negative or positive, the way this line is going? So if you said negative, hopefully you did, that means A and B could be your answers. C and D are out because it's a positive association. Do you see an outlier? Because this says negative linear association with no outliers, and there's a negative linear association with one outlier. Is there an outlier here? If you said no, you are correct. There is no outlier. A is your answer. And that's it. Hopefully you got that one. All right. Number 6, four students wrote the equations for the line of best fit on the scatter plot shown below. Did the student write the correct equation for the line of best fit? All right, Kim's equation is right over here, and they're talking about this scatter plot right here. So this is going to be pretty easy, because you see how this right here is -1? That Kim's equation is -1. So is Eleanor's. Jamie's equation is 1, and Arturo's equation is 1 for the slope as well, for the rate. And so that means you really don't have to figure out the slope. Right? It's either negative or positive. They don't have two different number negatives. Like, it's not like they have -1 and -2. So you don't have to figure anything out. What really the difference is here is that Kim's equation says 63 is your is the y-intercept. Well, I don't know why I forgot that. And Eleanor is saying that 73 is the y-intercept. So one of them has to be correct. Let's just basically see. So what happens right here is that the line stops right about here, and I kind of extended it. And it does go up to around 70. I would say a little bit above 70. So that would make Eleanor's equation a little bit better. But let's just take a look at what Kim said. Kim said that her equation is y equals -x plus 63. 63 is down, the trend line would be down here, starting there. It doesn't start there. Even without this line that I put here, if I remove it, it's not going to be 63. It's going to be like something like 75 or 73, around there. All right. So that means that Kim's equation, I would put that is incorrect. And that is incorrect because she has the wrong y-intercept. So if Kim's was incorrect, what do you think about Eleanor's? If you said that she's correct, that is the right answer. Take a second, look at Jamie's equation. What's incorrect about it? What's correct about it? Okay, so take a look. It's y equals x plus 73. Do you think that's incorrect or correct? Yep, so that's incorrect. Can anybody tell me why? Yep, so that does not have a positive slope. Right? So you can't have a positive slope for a trend line or a trend in this scatter plot that's going down from left to right. So positive slope is wrong for Jamie's equation, and that's why she's wrong. What about Arturo's equation? Take a second, look at it. What's wrong about it? What's right about it? Is there anything right? Yes, Arturo's equation has a positive slope again. He also has the y-intercept wrong. So that means Arturo is completely wrong. Right? The positive slope is wrong for Jamie, but the y-intercept is correct. All right, and then Kim's equation is wrong because, again, that y-intercept is wrong. For Kim. And Eleanor has everything right, so she's the only person that did have the right equation, and that's it. Number 7. Though they have a temperature and plant height, the scatter plot shows the data from experiment. The scientist was looking for a relationship between daytime temperatures and plant heights. Part A. Explain the experimental data summarized by this scatter plot. Describe the relationship shown by the data and the graph. So you have to explain the experimental data summarized in this scatter plot. All right, and what's happening? This is the daytime temperature, and this is the plant height. So you have to just explain what happens to the plant height as the temperature rises. Okay, so go ahead, press pause, and do that now. So just take a look. If it's 50 degrees out, 60 degrees, 70, 80, as the daytime temperature increases to about 95 degrees, right about there, the plant height increases along with it. All right, you could say that. And then all of a sudden, after that, the temperature is still increasing here. So it's right here is 100 degrees, and this is like 105 degrees. What happens to the plant life after 95 degrees? So when that temperature rises above 95 degrees, the plant height starts to decrease. Right? And those observations, what they're talking about, what you should make looking at this scatter plot. So the last part B of this question, same question, estimate the slope of a graph up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So they're saying up to that 90 degree mark. Using the ordered pairs, they're giving you the ordered pairs. Interpret the meaning of the slope in the context of the problem. Use the items from the box to complete the statements below. And here's that box. So let's do the estimation for slope. And I just wanted, I understand this is an estimation, but remember, what is the slope formula? Right? It's m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And when they say estimate, they really just want you to, round any numbers off that you can. And all of these are pretty rounded, so I don't understand like estimating this. This is pretty much, you could just figure out what the slope is using that formula, because it's pretty much like all 50, 20, 90, 50. If it was 52, you would round it to 50. It's not. So just go ahead and figure out the slope using the slope formula, using these ordered pairs. Remember, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Go ahead and do that. Put your answer right here, and you could press pause now. So I have this right here, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. M equals 50 minus 20, which is y2 minus y1. Over x2 minus x1, it's 90 minus 50. So that's it. We have 30. Over 40. You could put 30 over 40, you round it to 3 over 4. So estimation for the slope is 3 over 4. So taking a look at this right here, they want you to use these choices right here, the items from the box. So for every blank Fahrenheit of degrees, the temperature blanks, the plant height by blank centimeters. Something's missing here. But we're just going to do the best we can. So for every, and then this Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit's the X. So here's your X. For every 4 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature increases as temperature's increasing. So we're going to put increase right here. What happens as the temperature's increasing? The plant height doesn't decrease, the plant height is increasing. So the plant height is also increasing, and it's increasing 3 centimeters. It's going up. Increases 3 centimeters. And that is Redzone 10. Hopefully you found this helpful. See you next time.